New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev Briz and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And good morning, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you over here. Whoop, Michelle, we got you, Reverend Michelle, you got muted somehow. So
sorry, I was trying. Reverend Michelle Wadleigh here. This is my my number 3, Annalise. She's here visiting today. So we're doing the show together.
Absolutely. Hi, Annalise. She looks young enough that she won't understand some of the jokes, but that's okay today.
She won't.
Glad you're both with us. For those that are regular viewers, Rev Z is off with family this week, and so I called in a favor with a dear friend, Reverend Michelle Wadleigh, who also known as Rev Jersey Girl, and want to welcome you back to the show. It's been a while since we've had you on.
It's been a minute. Yeah, I'm kind of the Rev Z plug-in when he's not around, which is fine. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have a new program that you're doing with another minister. It's not here on the network, but it's out there in the world. And I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I've seen it going by. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, it's kind of fun. It's brand spanking new. And I give all the credit to Reverend Allen, all of it, because it was his brainchild. You want to go play with that toy? It was his brainchild, and I just got asked to go along with the ride. And the show is called Living Out Loud, and the website is livingoutloud.show. So if you want to look us up and subscribe, we'd love to have you subscribe. And so what we're going to do is we're going to complement the global themes of CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide. So each week we come and we bring the week's theme or the month's theme and the week, the focus of the week into the conversation. And then we'll be having the guests who are people, the ministers and practitioners. I'm not sure if there's any lay people. I'm not sure who wrote the theme. So once a month there'll be a guest, and it's really fun. Oh, she wants wonderful. Back.
Good. So that's livingoutloud.show. Check that out, folks, and head on over and give them some love and attention that they deserve, because we're all doing good work, and I love seeing the good work you're doing out there in the world.
Yeah, thank you. The truth is, and the more I think about it, and I'm always singing you praises always for this radio show, because the fact is, the more we can inundate the airwaves with this stuff, because I got to say, there's a lot of contrary vibrations out there. And so it's really important that we help to balance the scales, even a little bit.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Doing this work in the constant shows and the podcasts and the blogging and whatever we can do, whatever. And matter of fact, if you're watching, share it with people, because what you won't get in here or any of these shows, you won't get conflict and you won't get criticism, and although you do critique the world at large. So I take that back, but not just for the point of breaking it down, for the point of upliftment, and I think that's the critical difference here.
Yeah, exactly. I've kind of you hit on an important point that more and more and more, as I look at the world, I will avoid the sensationalized headlines. I will avoid the headlines that are overtly negative, and it doesn't matter from what side of the political spectrum that might come from. I guess I'm becoming a centrist in a lot of ways, because I don't want to deal. If you're leading, if your whole premise is let's shock and awe and scare the heck out of people, then that's not
Yeah.
good.
I think of all of it as subscribing. So we get to choose what we subscribe to. As a matter of fact, true confessions here. At the end of my day, normally my brain starts to shut down and I get in front of the boob tube. Now, I don't watch TV, network television, but I watch lots of streaming of movies and programming, and God knows I love a good binge. But the fact is, yeah, I mean, I really do enjoy that. But I know that I've been too attached and too immersed. So my community, based on a book that I wrote, it might have been my first book, I believe it might have been 40 Days to Freedom. It's a Lenten practice. And I know that we're not necessarily, particularly Christian, but I wanted that practice as just a healthy spiritual practice at a yearly basis. So we just started it, and I gave up all streaming for 40 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So let me tell you what I did the other night for the first night, because I got to be honest, I was a little bit like, what did I do? What did I do? Because I like to veg out. I pick up my crocheting and I kind of go a little mindless at the end of the night because it's my time to do that. But the first night I sat there and no television on, and I'm crocheting, and I said to my Google Nest machine, I said, play some soft jazz. And then I went to some bluesy jazz. And then I love Chris Stapleton. I asked it to play Chris Stapleton. And I went to a couple, and then I landed on the Moody Blues. When was the last time you listened to the Moody Blues? You might be too young.
No.
Are you too young to appreciate them?
No, I appreciate the Moody Blues. Yeah.
Oh my God, I haven't listened to that. They were genius. Yeah. And so what's happened for the next 40 days, I'm having complete blockout of all that stuff. Now, I don't watch the news anyway, unless I have to. CNN is my go-to if something's happening in the world, although I'm becoming more and more critical of the way they report. I'd love, and if someone knows of a news source that truly is objective, that truly doesn't try to present a case and support a position, I'd love to know about it. Yeah, I really would.
I depend a lot more on the Associated Press and NPR.
Right. Okay. You're right. You're right.
And the beautiful part about NPR now is it's not just National Public Radio. It's all radio based, but then now their website, I really enjoy NPR's website, and I think it's a balanced and relatively non-biased. I think they still skew a little to the liberal side, but they're very open to presenting as many perspectives as they can on major stories.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll check it out. And I guess I don't listen to the radio much either in my house. I don't have a radio anymore. Do you listen to them by radio? How do you take them in?
No, I use their website.
Oh, the website. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
When I hear of something happening in the world, I jump on their website, and another place I really like to get, I'll tell you my opinion, and you got to be careful with this one, folks. Anybody out there watching, but YouTube. Now, YouTube will create your own bubble for you. YouTube is very quick at showing you what their algorithms think you want to watch, based on what you just watched. So I try to watch some of the left and some of the right speaking pundits and stuff like that. But citizen journalism is really coming a long, long way. And I find a few different channels that really work hard not to just push their side, especially when it comes to political or national issues or the bigger issues in our country right now. So, and
I want to say to you though, it's really funny how we are part of a community globally of people, not just CSL, but CSL, Unity, Divine Science, spiritual communities that are not related at all. We are individuals who want to promote, and this is where it starts to where it starts to sound a little woo-woo like, but we're seeking to promote love, compassion, acceptance, and all of that, right? And then we want to do it objectively. But here's the thing, without a drive, without really taking a position, it still leaves a lot of room and a lot of latitude for the contrary side to have its way. And sometimes I think we might be a little too objective, a little too open, a little too easy about the whole thing.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like we shouldn't be apologizing for being loving individuals.
Right. Oh, exactly. Yes. And I do think there is a way that, as New Thought, great topic here, that we can put our foot down, as it were, in a loving, kind, compassionate way, but also be able to say, no, that shall not stand. No, we're not going to put up for that. No. I once remember being taught that no is a complete sentence.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have to explain it, but I think as New Thought, you're right. We have to be willing to take those stands, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we get a little almost hiding behind the "it's all good" phrase.
Yeah, and okay, I'm going to not be very popular in this statement right now, but sometimes it's not all good. It's not all good. And what I mean is, yes, the presence of God is in all things at all times because of free will. That is that is a fact. But and I know, like on the ministers listserv, when we chat with people and we talk about taking a stand for something, everyone always says, oh, you can't stand against something. That sounds great, but I got news for you. If I was at a rally, if I was on the street and somebody I knew was being harmed, if there was homophobic bashing going on in front of me, I assure you I would immediately take a stand.
Right.
I'm not going to stand by. I'm going to stand for, and I'm going to stand for quite not aggressively, might be a little too hard of a word, but assertively. Very assertively. If somebody I know, if I'm witnessing something and it's racism and blatant racism in front of me, may I have the courage to not stand by.
Right.
Yes. So that means that we have to put our big girl panties on and our big boy panties on. I can't leave right now, baby girl. Nana's talking. And we have to we have to take a stand and put words behind it and action behind it, because all the praying in the world without action, without steps, it's just busyness.
Faith without works is dead.
Thank you. I couldn't get it. Yeah. I knew it was in the back of there somewhere, but I couldn't grab it. So thank you.
But I want to jump on this because I agree that in that it's not always all good. There's an incident here in Colorado this past week, and 11 school districts had to close for the day because of false reports of active shooters. And some of these phone calls, they actually used recorded gunfire in the background. So they played gunfire in the background of the phone call to help sell the lie that schools across the state, my adopted home state of Colorado, that schools were being attacked, that there were active shooters in these different schools. I can't in any way find a good in there. I mean, we can go look and say, okay, well, the police now have extra training and yada, 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 yada. But to me, the stress, the harm.
Wait, was that a comeback? Did someone say that it was a value? Because now,
no. But
good,
you could go there. Anybody could easily jump to that. Okay, yeah, nobody was hurt. That's good. Yeah, they got some training. Nobody was hurt. That's good. But I don't see any good in those types of behaviors. And this isn't the first time. There was a rash of these folks, you might remember, here in the United States back in September and October of last year. There were a rash. There was actually a TikTok challenge at one point. That's another story.
True.
But, so I'm with you. Not everything is here for our good, but everything is here, I believe, to push us towards that. It's not always fun. It's not a good thing for these, but somehow I gotta believe that it's pushing us towards a better way.
So here's the thing. If I were to try to find good, this is what I'd like to try to do. As a mother of 3 sons, and how many children do you have?
2.
2. Okay.
2.
As a father, as a mother of 3 sons, and now 3 grandchildren. If anything, when I see stuff like that, what I want to use that as a call to action to grab hold of my sons and my grandchildren. My sons are adults now, but it's the concept. I want to grab hold of them, and I want to keep them not sequestered and not restricted, but I want to stay close to them. I want to stay in conversation. I want to learn how to have conversations with my children and my grandchildren where they want to talk to me. And I think if anything, if this is a call to action globally, it's let us empower and enrich and strengthen family ties.
Yeah.
And strengthen it. Like, back in the day, I don't remember. I was young, but I was the last of 7, and we always had these big family gatherings. Now, I was one of 7, my many nieces and nephews. So a family gathering was like an event, right?
Right.
Now, I have a lot less people in my life right now, in my immediate family, having only 3 sons. But like even tomorrow, we're having, we try to have monthly dinners, like giving our family, our children, our grandchildren, those connections to look forward to. Because here's one thing: if your children are not aligning with you, the next an individual who doesn't provide a lot of great influence will grab them, because if they get attention, and that's how gangs get created, right? Because there's this loose, unattached teenager out there. A matter of fact, we just had a Sunday celebration in person because we're still hybrid, and I was talking to one of the members, and we were talking about locked doors, to lock our doors or not lock our doors. And what happened was, she was telling me that her sister was home in her house in a, like a local suburban town, pretty normal. And these 3 teenagers, 17-year-old teenagers, had stolen a car, but they had an accident. So they abandoned the car, they ran through the backyards and landed in the backyard of this person. Right. And as she was leaving her house, they noticed her. And they were about to steal her car, but instead of just stealing her car, they beat her up.
Yeah.
And I'm told, because they had conversations with the cops, that these gangs that initiate these boys into this activity make sure that they stay with 17-year-olds, because then they're treated as adolescents. Right. Now, they beat this woman bad. They broke both her eye sockets. Okay, steal the car, but leave the people alone. Yeah. So that kind of fear that starts to then ripple out, because the friends that I were talking to, now they're living behind locked doors.
Right.
So we have to, if we don't give our children us, and we don't give them the love and acceptance and helping them to recognize their brilliance, someone else will call them to task, and it probably won't be what you want them to be doing.
Yeah. As you share that, it actually puts some light for me on all these various TikTok challenges. There was another TikTok challenge to trash the bathroom of your school, and I know schools across the country. This was last year, and our local high school where my kids go had to close the public restrooms because too many people were doing too much damage.
Oh gosh!
Now I know, folks. I got 2 teenagers. It's not like I know it's not easy to monitor what they're watching and all the ways they're being influenced. But I think you're touching on an important point. Parenting isn't just showing up. Parenting isn't just putting dinner on the table. Parenting isn't just being so busy working, making money. Parenting is actually sitting down and having those conversations, connecting, being part of the family. And I sit here watching you rock your grandchild, and I know that's part of what I've always admired about you. One of the things I've always admired about you from the very first, from all the way along, you have always been adamant that your family takes precedent, that your work doesn't override your family involvement. And I've seen you as a multi-generational grandma now, and and when I called yesterday and said, hey, can you be on the show? And you said, yeah, as long as my granddaughter can be on my lap. And I'm like, absolutely. Let people.
I'm glad that that's seen. Yeah. It's funny because I was going to say to you before, my ministry in many ways has taken a back seat a little bit because my grandchildren are my ministry.
Right.
And when and I want my grandchildren, I was just saying to my husband the other night, right? Because the kids get to an age, we any adults that have children, older children, they think you're wonderful, think you're wonderful, that oops, you know nothing.
Yeah.
It's what happens. But my desire is to stay being a person that they feel safe around and that they want to talk to. Yeah. And so I often, and I hope my congregation is okay about this, but my priority is my grandchildren. Like when I started the ministry with my son, who was 3 or 4 at the time. And then he started playing sports, and I used to move board meetings around his lacrosse schedule.
Love it. Yep.
And even my eldest son, who's been an interesting son, and I adore him. And the fact is that he, even though he's done things that I don't approve of, and he's had his issues and troubles, the man, he's a man now. I say child because it's my heart. He knows that he's always been loved.
Yeah.
You see, I don't have to approve of behavior, and I don't have to agree with, but I will always love.
Right. And
so approving of someone's behavior is not the same as just choosing to love their essence. And if we love the essence, our own essence, the essence of our children, and the essence of our grandchildren, then the fact is they will return to us. What do you need, baby girl? She's looking at this. She doesn't know what to make of this.
Exactly. I don't see you do this kind of stuff, Grandma. You're normally playing with me.
Although it's funny because my grandchildren have been popping into my recordings and my classes for years now. Matter of fact, my youngest son, who's 20, he's gonna be 27 soon. Wow, I'm old. Well, my oldest is 44, so I'm getting there. And I used to teach, and he would be babysat at home by his older brother. But every night he would call us before going to bed, and I put him on speakerphone, and the entire class would say, "Good night, Seth." And so that also created a thread. Whoop.
Yep.
Go up there. She's climbing on a chair. I just need to have her within arm's reach.
Gotcha.
There you go. She recently broke her arm. I don't want not on my watch, thank you God.
Yeah.
So I just I don't want any repeat. But family, strong family ties, not about agreement, but about, whatever way you can is to find that essence, that thread of love that runs through family. Strong family will help to combat this aimless thing that teenagers have if we stay close to them.
Yeah. Well, again, you're hitting on a great theme, because in my 20 years around this movement now, I think one of the biggest things I see is that false belief in separation. And that leads to behaviors of division, if you will. And right. we're seeing that right now on the political stage. I know you don't follow it too much, but good old Marjorie Taylor Greene is suggesting that America get divorced from itself, that the red states and the blue states agree to a divorce. Now I laugh I laugh, and I'm scared to shit too, because this is a member of Congress saying this, but that sense of division, that we are separate, that we are different, is breaking us apart. But if we go back to family, if we bring it back to that, we are one human family. And how do I, like you've been saying, how do I not condone the behavior and still love the actor, still love the child or the neighbor?
And we got to get to where we just get out of each other's business. Got to get out of each other's business, for Pete's sake. I mean, all I have to say is Florida.
Yeah.
Some very interesting things going on down there.
And most of it is getting in other people's business.
Man. Yeah, I mean, I might not watch like a lot of people watch, but I know that things come to me, and I start with shock, and then I'm like, how is that possible? How is it possible that someone believes they can legislate someone's body, someone's love,
right,
someone's reading habits, for Pete's sake? My Lord have mercy. Oh my gosh. I really don't understand. I really don't understand that, very seriously. Whoops. Yeah. Now, mind you, I want to say to you though, and some of you, oh baby, come on, Nanny rock you. Come on. She's sleepy, but she's not happy just sitting in the chair. My son, an interesting son, but he's doing a lot of good work in the world, and he's doing a lot to promote artists, musicians, and mixed media art, all kinds of art. And he's on something called Discord. Do you know Discord?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Discord.
Yep.
The communities. See, while we're here busy not stuck on Facebook, doing Facebook, there are communities of hundreds and thousands of people growing on this platform called Discord and through Twitter Spaces. Yep. And so I actually think that's those of us who might be younger and more capable or more for that platform need to get into those conversations. We need to get to where it's not really obvious.
Yeah.
We need to get where it's not obvious. I just lost you. Where did you go? Why did I have a Mac? I have no idea. Where did you go? There you are. Okay. So Discord, Twitter Spaces, and then the whole world of my son also has the Oculus, right? The meta universe. There are Christian churches. Who are having church service in this fake world.
Yeah.
All avatars. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware. I haven't wandered in or ventured in too far, but I'm aware that this is beginning. Yes, that truly there is a virtual reality being grown and born and developed.
Oh my, and so I could condemn it and say, oh, it's digital, it's technical. I could do all that. But the fact is, I'm not going to. You know why? It already exists. So now
Yep.
that it exists, I have to figure out, what do I do with it? What do I do? How do I respond? And we have got to figure out, wow, can we get in there? Now, of course, this is some of our younger ministers who have graduated from the what do you call it? The repopulation. What do you call what's that? The program where they developed. Did I lose you, Robert? Did I freeze? Robert, I don't know if I froze or you froze, so I'm going to keep talking in case you froze. Anyway, we have some younger ministers out there. We have, Dan Granda and Chris Alexandra and Ryan Alexander, and a number of other younger people. And I believe those are the people that we need to get y'all in these other platforms, because we need to have a presence so that when people are trying to align with something, because people, they want to align, when they're trying to align with something, if we don't give them something, wow, I'm so close. If we don't give them something, somebody else will. So to all those younger ministers who love technology, who love the digital world, and that's great. We need to get you to develop these other communities, and give people who are searching a place to go, an absolute place to go. And it looks like Reverend Robert might have been, I know they're having some weather out there, so maybe he got kicked off the internet, I think. Yes, I believe we're still live. So I guess I'll just keep chatting with you for the moment. So it's good to be back here. Many of you know me. My show used to be the Jersey Girl show, the Rev Jersey Girl. And I did it for about a year and stopped just for other commitments and such. So it is always good to be back here. And so while I'm filling time here, and you could tell I'm filling time because I didn't come here to do this alone. But while I'm filling time here, what I'd like to talk to you about is the take the teaching to the streets, and take it into the house first. So that means sometimes I find that religious scientists, or people practicing the science of mind, or people even practicing spirituality, are often shy about chatting about what they believe. And when you walk into someone's home, I think that your home should represent who you are and what you believe immediately, so that someone comes in and they're very clear. And then so that's the home space. I know when you walk into my home, the things that people tell me about my home, people tell me that my home is very warm and inviting. Well, I've done a lot, and it's not the surroundings. My house is not that special, but I do know the atmosphere. It has been filled with prayer and meditation and healthy conversations for years. So when you walk into my house, you feel that. So first we take care of self, and then we take care of family and home, and then how it moves out from there is the ripple and the extended circles of baby girl. You want to come by Nana? You look very tired. You do. You look tired. Why don't you put your head down on Nana? Put your head down. Go ahead. No. No. So the extended circles are then your neighbors, because sometimes your neighbors can be interesting, right? It could be interesting. But if we don't demand anything from them, instead we just create relationships with them, well, then you get to be who you are and bring your essence to your neighbors and your neighborhood. I just recently volunteered for the 100-year celebration for Indian Lake, which is, I live in a little town called Denville, really little town, about 5 minutes outside of New York City, about 20 minutes outside of Newark. And it's a really kind of middle of the road kind of town. And our diversity is growing, I'm so happy to say. And it is a town it feels very welcoming. So we're about to celebrate our 100th anniversary that the Indian Lake, which was a man-made lake, next year will be 100 years old. And I volunteered just because I want to blend into the community. I don't want to lose myself in it, but I want to bring who I am. And so one of the best ways that I could think of was to serve. So I'll be here serving on this committee and bringing who we are, and who this feeling and this vibration is. And so many years ago, when I was married to my first husband, I've only had two. When I was married to my first husband, I used to volunteer a lot in different ways. So this one year, I decided that I was volunteering for my son's school, and I was volunteering for my spiritual center, but I decided I wanted to give back to my community. So I didn't do it in a small way. I decided to join the first aid squad and went through a lot of training to be an EMT. And it was incredibly rewarding. So when you and I volunteer, when people like us volunteer, we kind of infiltrate the community, and we bring our positivity, our hopefulness, our compassion, and our new language. And so I think it's really important to find a place where you feel good to serve, for you to feel good to serve and be like a mole. I'd love to see, and he is back.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was you or me, and I've been chatting about nonsense for like 5 minutes.
It was totally me. My apologies, folks. We've all this cold weather in Colorado has been having a little having its way with the electrical system at my house here. And so I had a power flicker, everything shut off, and I had to scramble to get back online. So thank you for your patience with me.
Well, it's funny because I thought to myself, is it him or is it me? Because suddenly I was alone, and then I'm watching the time. I'm like, if the time is still going, it must be him.
Yes.
So I was just still supporting the idea of being the presence, at home and in neighbors and volunteering, and that's where I was going. And what you got, Robert? What you got?
Well, we've almost run out of time, so might as well just wrap it up, let people get into the rest of their day. But I want to say thank you so much for saying yes to being with us this morning. That's another thing I've always admired about you, Reverend Michelle, is you have that yes. How can I serve? Yes. How can I help? Yes. How can we work together to create something more amazing, more wonderful than maybe we recognize at the moment? And I know you're very active in that in a lot of ways around this New Thought movement. So I'm always really excited when you've got some time and say yes to us as well.
Well, when I leave this planet, I want to leave it better than when I found it.
Yeah.
That's what I am all about. I want to leave the planet better than when I found it. And I thank you for inviting me. I'll always say yes to you. If I can do it, I will say yes.
Absolutely.
I love this network. And people, if you're listening, if I didn't bore you to tears over the next few minutes, because I wasn't expecting to be a solo act for a few minutes, support the network. Share it with your friends, share it on Facebook, share it everywhere. Why? Because we need to get the word out, and we need to do so very assertively. We really do.
Yes. Speaking of which, stick with us, folks. We're going to take one quick minute to say thank you to our organizational sponsors and donors, but we'll be right back with our final thoughts here on Ministers Talking Shit for a Friday morning. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance,
Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Ontario, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Canada, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, and all of our individual donors and sponsors. Thank you for being a part of New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. All right. Thank you to everyone that makes this network possible. Before we go today, I have one other thing I want to share with everybody, and that is later this evening, we are doing a very special program in partnership with our friends over at the Center for Spiritual Living Salt Lake, my original spiritual home in this philosophy. And they're doing a special one-night-only concert with international performing artist Jarrett Burns. We've had a chance to listen to a few of his songs over the last few weeks, and this is going to be an amazing show. So if you're watching online, please join us later this evening, 7 o'clock Mountain Time, here on New Thought Media Network.
Nice. Good work.
Going to be a groovy night of music. So it's not going to be the Moody Blues, but I think you might like it anyway. So join us for that. All right. Before we go, Reverend Michelle, any final thoughts for people before we wrap this up?
Be happy. Find your happy. Find your happy and infect others with it. That's my final thought.
Go be you. Yes.
Yes.
I like
Do
it.
you. Do it well.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. Everyone else, stay tuned. Our normal, regular Friday programming starts in just a few minutes. Be Your Own Hero with Sekou Wrights is starting next. Morning prayers at 8:15. The morning sip at 8:30. Practicing Infinite Possibilities is at 10. 1 o'clock is the Joy Show with Rev Barbara. I'll be back with the evening news, the good news at 5 o'clock. And we have Pastor Michael with the Fireside Chat at 6. And again, Jarrett Burns at 7. So join us.
Enjoy.
All right. Thanks for being with us, folks. Until next time, we wish you peace. I'm trying to find my exit movie. Until we see you next time, we wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.